On September 22nd, 2010, Tyler Clementi jumped off the George Washington Bridge after seeing that his roommate had posted online him kissing another male. Imagine being an 18-year-old boy, or an 18-year-old just in general, struggling with your sexual orientation, and then going off to college and struggling being a college student. Imagine having been so happy, having been an amazing musician, and then finally becoming comfortable enough with yourself that you ask your roommate if you can have the room alone. Imagine waking up the next morning and seeing online that your roommate had videotaped the entire thing and put it online for everyone to see. And imagine walking to the George Washington Bridge. Imagine leaning over the railing and thinking, I deserve to die because I kissed somebody that I may love. And imagine jumping. Imagine hitting the water. Imagine being his parents. Imagine feeling so ashamed. Being all of these children, all these young kids who feel that they have to die because they don't fit into the norm of what society tells them. Because they can't live up to the expectations of what love is. Now, there are a lot of theories as to why people have sexual orientation, but no one really knows how one comes to have one. But I believe that you're born with it. It's built into your DNA. There are people all over the world in different countries, different ethnic backgrounds, different genders who are either straight, bisexual, lesbian, gay, transgender, questioning, queer, anything. Dating way back in history, this has always existed. And I believe that it's built into your DNA. I believe that it's no different than being right-handed or left-handed or being able to use both hands. And I believe that when you come into this world, you don't come out saying that I'm left-handed or I'm right-handed. Rather, it's when you need to start eating or writing, that's when you figure it out. It's when it's necessary. And it's the same thing with sexual orientation. When you're 7, 8, 9, when you start realizing that you're attracted to somebody, that's when you figure it out. And maybe it's not that one moment when you see somebody, but you know when you're attracted to who you're attracted to. And there's nothing that you can do to change it. There used to be belief that it was a mental illness. Being gay was a mental illness and that you could be treated, but they took that out of the list of mental illnesses when they realized that these patients weren't being cured. They were able to change their behavior, but it caused mental trauma. It caused them to become ashamed. And it caused them to believe that there was something wrong with them, that they needed to be fixed, but they couldn't change it. And people who are part of the LGBTQ community can't change it. It's built inside of them. They don't choose to be in love with somebody. The same way a straight couple doesn't choose to fall in love with one another. And luckily, we're living in a society that's changing, and in the United States, at least, there are many other states that are lifting same-sex marriage bans, which is wonderful, and it's changing quite rapidly. Imagine being a couple who has been together for years, and here's the news that their state legislature has decided that the same-sex marriage ban is unconstitutional. Imagine finally being able to stand at that altar and saying, I do. I believe that everyone should be able to say, I do. No one should have to fear walking down the street holding the hand of the person they love. No one should have to fear being attacked. No one should have to fear having shame. No one should have to picture themselves standing at the George Washington Bridge and thinking, I don't deserve to live. That I am not enough. That because I have kissed a woman, or if I have kissed a man, or if I have kissed both, that I don't deserve to live. That I am not normal. That I need to be cured. That I have to die. 9 out of 10 teenagers have reported being bullied due to their sexual orientation. And I hope that soon enough, our society will be able to change and evolve and be more accepting of this. So that people, when they go to their senior prom, they don't have to feel ashamed if they're a guy and they're standing with a guy. Or they're a girl and they're standing with a girl. No one should have to be ashamed of who they love. Love is nothing to be ashamed of. It's between two people, which is why sometimes I don't understand why it's a societal issue. So I wrote a poem that I want to share with you that basically talks about that we're all human. And it's time that we start recognizing that. And recognizing that we all come from the same place. We all come from the same origin. And we should just all be in this together. So that there aren't more Tyler Clementi incidents. That there aren't more Trayvon Martin incidents. That there's equality for everyone. Whether you're female, male, bisexual, lesbian, gay, whatever. Everyone is equal because we're all human. So, here's my poem. Each morning, I refuse to put my hand over my chest and recite liberty and justice for all. I'm reminded to keep fighting so my children don't grow up to believe this American pledge was nothing but a lie. I will not swallow my pride. Rather, I will march in it. I will salute every rainbow with a pot of gold smiles that belong to thousands of Russian and Ugandan prisoners who refuse to let their love be lost in the shadows of rain clouds. Did you know our genes are 99% identical, yet we continue to insist that 1% is the majority because power comes from differences? This is the problem. This is why we call each other every other name in the book besides human. What kind of race is this? There is no first place prize when you reach the finish line. There is no point in beating everyone in record time. What happened to this being a team sport? What happened to remembering where we come from? Why do we say home is where the heart is when our hearth lies in the continent of Africa? Why did it take so long for the peacekeepers to say the word genocide when every day for 3 months 1,000 Rwandans lost their lives? Did you know some Tutsis would pay their murderer to ensure they'd be killed less torturously? How many times are we going to hold a gun in our hand and turn a blind eye? Let's start loading the chamber of our voice boxes with kind words instead of aiming lethal weapons at strangers. Isn't it strange how some days I feel like this is the Vietnam War and too many of us soldiers have forgotten what we're fighting for? My mind enters a boxing match with my mouth each time a teacher calls his sexist remarks about his wife a joke. Andrea Gibson wrote a poem called Privilege is Never Having to Think About It. I can't stop thinking about the time I called the police after seeing a man shove a woman on the sidewalk, then watched as the officer let them leave together. He told me I was the only witness, which was not enough. I wanted him to promise me that nothing bad would happen to her. I wanted to ask him if he has a sister or a daughter. I wanted to tell him to make sure every one of his actions say I love you, just in case they ever come across a cop who covers up their bruises by saying one shove is not enough, one witness is not enough, your gender is not enough, you are not enough. When will being a human be enough of a reason to stand up the same way a young girl from Pakistan continued to stand for education even after taking a bullet from the Taliban? And the next time they tell you to rise, do not claim ignorance as bliss. Think of all the Trayvon Martins, the Tyler Clementis, and the 89,000 plus girls who were told over and over they were asking for it. And ask yourself, is there really liberty and justice for us all?